What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheetsaber. We're going to be talking about another week of PGA golf, aka my most successful sport. Not even necessarily in the huge dollar amounts, because I don't play as heavy as I do the other sports. But man, sometimes I wish I would have, because I've had I think it's now 9 of 11 or 9 of 12 weeks that I've had pretty significant, at least doubling my monies. And last week I finished 7th and 8th in I played this like a $30 single entry and the $100 single entry, and those were 5 of 6s. And then in the big one I was 170th or whatever, 170 something. But I believe I had one of the best scores of anybody with in the $15 max monster thing with all 5 of 6s, and it was basically just doing exactly what some of the stuff we talked about. I always played Neiman, and all those guys just were really great for me. But Sheets, this is a tournament where we have a little bit. Oh, and Matt Wolf was obviously really good, although he struggled a ton on day 3. What are you looking at though? What's your sort of your any sort of overall before we jump into the price tiers?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've gathered from the scraping of content or whatever, it's not going to be a minus 20 type of week. Apparently, the par 5s are not almost unreachable. I don't think that people are going to be getting home in 2 on the par 5s. And I just kind of share like what my process is, honestly. Like I run projections, I run the models, I look at I compare ownership to whatever, use different optimizers to build lineups and my own little opinions. And I watch the Rick Run Good videos like on the way over before I even do anything. So what I do is I take his qualitative takes and I superimpose those on top of my quantitative takes, and that's how I come up with my pool, So, and again, only because first of all, I'm sharing the stuff with you guys, and because the YouTube video I'm watching is free, I'm gonna share whatever takes of his that I can remember.
Yeah, I think this is. I love that. I mean, I think that Rick does an incredible job, and obviously really studies this stuff, in depth in a way that is really impressive. Let's get into the high end tier, because I think we're running into sort of a similar type of, these high price guys are sort of all like rated similarly, mostly all double digit owned. What are you looking at up here? And do you love I think we're gonna probably I think I'm gonna probably have to play at least one player from the high end tier in most of my lineups this week. What about you?
Yeah. So first of all, to try to separate them again, the Sam Burns thing is real, like he's playing really, really well. Models are really liking him also. And you have to just accept the fact that, he's just not a 6,800 golfer anymore. You know what I mean? He's playing at a very, very high level every week. And, currently we don't see, John Rahm in the field. We don't see, Bryson DeChambeau in the field. We don't see the top end plays in the field. So
can we give ourselves a little bit of a boost for being on the Burns thing ahead of everybody else? Because we've been talking about this kid for a year and a half, and and he's been great to us. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so he's been doing, so he's, people might look and say 11-1, really, but yeah, really. I mean, that's he's going to project actually to be a pretty decent play even at 11-1. But I do agree with you that most of my initial builds are getting me in at least one guy in this range. The guy I'm getting is most of is a little surprising to me, but that's where I'm going to be. I do like. I'll just give you the order of which I like these guys. So way ahead of everybody else for some reason for me is Cameron Smith. So he's a top one for me, and then there's Burns second. And then next I have Finau and Scheffler about the same. And then I have a drop down to Sanjay and Henley. Sanjay and Hat. So that's and then and as usual, I mean, like, and this is the case. I mean, the models just never like Matthew Wolff, which is why he's just never going to rank well for me. But you just got to keep playing. I mean, I guess that's just the bottom line. I mean, and you've been doing it basically all year, and you were like, right. I mean, he was killing it. And, if he's going to if you could put 4 days together, I mean, he's going to win these things by freaking 8 strokes, Right. So he's not going to ever be a good model play, but he's always going to be a GPP play, just always. So that's where I'm at in the 10K.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. And I think that I have all these guys, obviously, so in my order, I'm really happy you said the Cam Smith thing, because that was my original thought too. He was my number one. I really like Cam Smith, and I think that there's a reasonable argument to be made that he's the best golfer of these guys, like in terms of consistency, in terms of most of his tournaments, he plays the big ones. He doesn't play a lot of these other junky tournaments and have a chance to win those things. I just think he's really a really solid play, and you get a little bit of a discount off him of some of the other guys who I like Burns. I like Scheffler too. My list was Smith, Burns, Scheffler, and Wolf, but I was open to the fact that people don't like to play. They love Tony Finau in the mid range because he's always a consistent producer. So when he's high priced, people just don't play him as much. So because he not even just the perception, the reality that he doesn't ever win tournaments. That will change at some point, and you don't necessarily need your guy to win. I mean, the guy who wins might be in the 7 or 8K range or 9K. There's guys I love down there that I'll get into. So I have those guys. Like I have Finau. I added to my list as my fifth favorite, but I would go Smith, then Wolf, then Burns, then Scheffler for me. I mean, Matt Wolff, the last 3 tournaments he's played, by the way, he's got a 2nd, a 5th, and a 17th. It wasn't like, in the last 3 for Burns, he's got a 1st, a 5th, and a 14th. You know what I mean? These guys are good, and they're becoming more and more consistent. And I think we were ahead of the field on him, but now it makes it like a little bit harder to go, oh, well, now we're going to play him when everybody plays him. Although last week at 9,200 and a pretty weak field, no one played Matt Wolff. So that's the way I would rank him. The only one I didn't get to was, and I usually get to him, is Hatton, of the names you mentioned. Hatton and M, I like both of them. I just feel like I like the upside of the other guys maybe a little more. Maybe M I need to relook at a little bit. But as of right now, I have Smith as my favorite, and Wolf, Scheffler. Wolf, Burns, Scheffler after that. All right, down in the 9Ks, what are we looking to do? You have some places you can get a little different with some really good golfers here, but we know what that means. These really good golfers are, well, I don't know how to put it. They're not, I mean, like Brooks, we want to play him only in big stuff in general, but his price coming down has me a little bit open and intrigued. What are you looking at in the 9K range?
So share a take on Brooks is that, this course is actually on the longer side. And if you rate Brooks based on how he plays these longer courses, he actually has a pretty decent sized bump in courses like this. And he's another guy who literally I will never play him just off of projections. You know what I mean? He just never projects well. And I don't think I could come up with enough reasons to get to him this time either. Any other way. The 2 guys that I have in the 9K range are really the only guys I have. It's actually not the guy. It's actually not Neiman. I just is Gooch and Wise. Like these are the two guys I have, and I like both of them a lot. So I'm not gonna. Ortiz is the defending champion, I think. So take that for what it is. So I'm not gonna be playing Koepka, Scott, and I don't think I'm getting a Neiman this week. Can't quite figure out why, but I'm just not. But my Gooch and Wise are my 2 top plays from this range.
Yeah, I realized I had a note from a friend that said play Tyrrell Hatton this week, a friend who knows about golf. So I have to actually probably.
Oh, that was that guy again. Yeah, I got to definitely keep that in mind.
He's been pretty right on, and
okay.
So just throwing that out there, but another good friend of mine who well, who follows the tour probably closer than anybody does that I know, other than my other friends who do this for a living, is convinced that this is the Adam Scott year.
Oh my God.
Which is not a guy who I was originally thinking about, but because of him, I'm just going to have to throw his name out. He's not my favorite. My favorites are going to be, it's going to sound like, oh, well, Bobby just has the same names. And partly I'm saying the same names for a reason.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, saying the same names is okay. I was all over Ortiz last week, which has paid off huge. I will play Carlos Ortiz as my favorite in this range, followed by Joaquin Niemann. Even though maybe you could argue long course is not the best situation for him, but I like courses where I know it was a birdie fest last week, but even the way he plays the birdie fest, it's like he's like consistent. He doesn't bogey. He doesn't make big mistakes. He doesn't have these double bogey holes that everybody else does. I really like Neiman. And I really like Ortiz. I like Wise. I am going to play some Koepka. Other than that, other than my friend mentioning it to me, I wouldn't have thought of the Adam Scott. Taylor Gooch has been in incredible form, just consistently right there in every tournament, but I just am not finding myself getting to him as much this week. But for long courses, the one guy other than Kopka, the other guy who's been really well on long courses and in the past and has been sort of hit or miss, but he just hit a second a couple weeks ago. What about Patrick Reed, who's probably going to be the lowest owned of any player in this range because of Wise's popularity, because of Gooch's and Neiman's and all the other guys who are in great form. But he's actually in pretty decent form too, outside of the fact that he didn't play all that great, but he still, he finished 56th last week. But he had finished second the tournament before. Patrick Reed, historically, you would consider him probably, other than Kopka, the most experienced of all these golfers. I'm not going to say the best, but he would be the best if you took over a 5-year period. So I'm kind of into the Patrick Reed low ownership thing, and I'm guessing that he's showing up low owned for you too. So I really like Reed.
Yeah. It's one day one day early for me to get a really good ownership projection.
Yeah.
But there's just no way that he's owned. There's just no way.
Yeah.
Okay. In the 8K range, I only really like two guys. And I'll repeat one thing just because he's not bad also. So the two guys I like are, one guy I just never play, one guy I play like every week. So the guy I play every week is Cameron Tringale. So I like him. The other guy I really don't play all that often, but he's showing up to this week for some reason, is Shane Lowry. So Shane Lowry and Cameron Tringale, and then the one other guy I'll throw in here at 8K is Max Homa. And I'll just reiterate what I said last time that I had this weird take, is that if somehow you could get Gooch and Homa in a pairing, like during a showdown slate, I'm telling you, like you look at some of the interviews, like Max Homa back when he won that tournament last year, whatever, he says, like, I'm just thank Taylor Gooch, because whenever I play with Taylor Gooch, like we talk about golf, like he's like the best. So if you ever somehow you get Gooch and Homa on the same pairing, I would play them both in a showdown. So I'll just throw that out there.
Okay.
And I like Homa a little bit this time also. So for me, it's it's Tringale, Lowry, and some Homa.
Yeah. So I've got a little. I'm open to the Tringale thing just because it's funny because you look 2 tournaments ago with basically, if you put a similar field up, Bezuidenhout and Tringale were priced in like the 10.5K range. I like both of those guys this week, and I think they're both going to be low owned, especially and Bezuidenhout's really, really consistent in general. So is Tringale. He had a bad week last week, but in general, he's pretty consistent. So those two guys stood out to me. I like the Homa thing. He was another one I had circled. And my other guy in this range that I'm not sure I'm going to get to, but the fact that he's consistently been really, really good and among the leaderboards the last couple tournaments isn't totally lost on me. And I have to look a little bit more into his long game. I know he's going to have some ownership, but it's Seamus Powers. That was pretty much it for me in this range. Is it weird that we didn't mention the name Russell Henley?
Yeah, I'm mad at him.
May have to think about Henley a little bit. All right. I can just see a Henley sort of like a Henry Reed sort of a build of why don't we play these guys? They're cheaper than the other. I don't know. I'm kind of open to that one. So we'll see as we get through it. 7K range. What are we doing down here?
It's like the 5 model plays like every freaking week. They're shown every single week, and they're literally numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7 on my value list. So everybody can guess at this point. So number 1 is Charlie Hoffman. Number 2 is Harold Varner. 3, who just keeps showing up, is Ian Poulter. 4, who keeps showing up, is Brian Harmon. And then the guy who cost me all the money last week is Kevin Streelman. So go right back to all these dudes, I guess. We'll have to see where ownership comes in. And then, of course, who's the next guy on the list? Everybody?
Mito.
Grillo, right. So,
no, I thought it was Mito. I thought it was going to be Mito Perez.
No, Grillo.
Oh my God. I should have known that one by saying when you said it.
Those
okay.
those are probably the guys I'll be playing, I guess.
So I'm with you. I like the Hoffman thing, and I like that he's not going to have much ownership. I like Streelman. I like that he's not going to have much ownership. Streelman's only hurt me once. I feel like what's his name? Why can't I think of? There's just too many names that I keep getting mixed up. But our guy, why can't I think of it? What price exactly is he? I think I didn't scroll down all the way.
Who, Hoffman?
No, the other one. That always kills me.
John Huh?
No, you mentioned his name. He always kills me. You said say it together. Grillo.
Grillo, right.
Yeah, Grillo is yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could do Grillo. But I it makes some sense. I'm just not probably going to be doing it. Jason Day, I never play Jason Day, but this is kind of I'm open to that. And Cam Davis.
Okay.
But I think the guy I really like in this range, who no one seems to be interested in, is Munoz. You know, he's always been good on longer courses. He definitely has some risk in his game, but at this price, I'm just going to take some shots here. I like the Cam Davis. I like the Munoz. I like Mito Pereira. You know, I'm going to have a bias toward the Chileans now. I like Johnny Vegas a little bit, but I probably won't go there because I prefer Streelman. I mostly was the guys you said, but the additional ones were Davis, Munoz, and Mito for me. Other than that, it was basically your guys. And this is a range you could spend a lot, and there's a lot more time to spend. One guy who was looking like he was going to do really well for me last week and ended up sort of fading towards after the weekend, but he was I think in the top 3 or 4 going into the weekend. Ryan Palmer, or no, it was after day 3. I think maybe he was whatever it was. I have a little bit of interest in Ryan Palmer, and one other name I'm just going to mention in addition to all the guys we mentioned that has just been playing like solid golf for a guy, like he just always makes the cut. And that is Henry Norlander at 7K flat.
You like anything under 6K? I got a couple of guys.
All right, you started off, and I've got a couple things too.
All right, so this is a guy I don't like, but the top rated guy for me is Denny McCarthy at 6,600. I don't know if I'm down with that, but I can get down with 6,200 Trey Mullinax maybe. Just it's like so ridiculous. So there's him. And then, okay, I'm gonna steal a take. This is like the ultimate what's his name play, a PJ Dozier play. Like you don't need to do this, but Rick was talking about a guy all the way down at 6K, and the guy's name is Paul Barjon. Just the comment was that I don't know if he's they rate him at 500 to 1. He should only be 150 to 1 or something like that. So he's not going to win or anything like that. But if it's just one of those guys who's nobody plays just because he's 6K and he's like 2%, you know, maybe he makes the cut or something like that. So I'll do a little more digging on him myself. But so the Paul Barjon, I'll steal that one all the way down to 6K. But aside from that, I mean, I really don't think you're going to need to do this. I think that these 7K guys are really, really good. But Denny McCarthy, Trey Mullinax would be my top guys.
I agree about the 7K guys being really good, and you could use multiples of them and still probably even find a way to pay 1.5 times up or 2 times up if you need to. I really like the okay, so I have some different. I like the idea of the Barjon thing. I got to look into that one a little bit further.
Yeah, we should check it out. Ask Kenny about it.
How about is this weird to me to have a tiny bit of interest for? I mean, look, he's been terrible lately, but he made the most consecutive cuts of anybody on tour last year, and that's Zach Johnson is 6,100.
He's the next rated guy for me, by the way.
Yeah, I just think that there's something, you know, he is that cheap, and then you definitely could do 2 spend ups if you wanted to go that route. How
about Russell Knox? He was 24% owned last week, and now he's 6,900.
He's on my list as well. Luke List, 6,900. Thigala at 6,900.
Oh, that dude, yeah, that guy. I remember him.
I like him.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go back to another guy who I played last week and didn't do well for me. Did well for me the time before because of his price, and that's Steven Yeager. Not in love with him, just another guy. Again, I don't know if you need all this stuff, but these are just the guys who I have written down, and I have to look into the Mullinax and Barjon thing.
Yeah,
but I
probably don't need either of it. Honestly, probably don't need either of it, honestly. But
yeah, but you know,
but if everybody knows that these guys are literally going to be 2%, I mean,
right? They're 2%, and it's not like that. I mean, I don't know about those specific, but like the other guys, I mean, would it be surprising to anybody if Zach Johnson finished like 25th in this tournament? I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe this tournament he's got a shot.
You know, I mean, no, but I mean, he did it all year last year, and he just kept finishing like top 20, top 25, top 30, whatever. He was always making the cuts, and that's what you want when you get to 6,100. you're okay with the guy finishing in the 40s. You know what I mean?
Right.
If it allows you to do what you think makes sense, but do you really think that we need to? Probably not this week, but it still is kind of moderately interesting to me. One other last guy who is Tom Hoagy, who I didn't want to leave hanging, because those, I'm going to be filtering in some of the 6K guys because it just feels like there are some that are decent, but I don't think that they necessarily will make my main build. So I'll put it that way.
Okay.
With that said, let's play the game. Let's start at the top and we're going to work our way down. So who at Sheets is going to win this tournament?
Cam Smith.
I love it. And that's what I would have said. So I'm going to give him a little extra rating there. Somehow, if I can play him twice, I'll do it. Wouldn't that be kind of cool, by the way? Side note, I think at some point they got to start doing that. The MVP thing they used to have this double thing. You could your players would get double points in baseball for certain things, certain tournaments on DraftKings a long time ago, or maybe was it on drafts, whatever, one of the other draft sites, Draft Day or something. But it would be kind of cool if you could get you pay a little extra, but you also get you get whatever 1.5 times the points or something. I like Cam Smith. I'm stuck because I have all the other guys very, very close up top. Yeah. My initial thing is I want to say Wolf. But I also kind of want to say Burns. So I think I'm going to side with both Wolf over Burns in the close one, but I really like both of them. And by the way, Scotty Scheffler looks amazing right now. He almost played his way back in to win that thing last week. If Hovland wasn't so amazing, he might've had a shot, but that's where I'm at. If you really want to know who I think is going to win who I would bet to win the tournament, if I had to bet anybody, it's going to be in this next range, but I'll let you go first because you're not going to pick him.
Okay, so top 5 then, I guess, is that what we said?
Top 5.
Top 5 under 10K. I will go with, I'm going to flip a coin between these two guys. Okay, I will take Taylor Gooch.
The one guy I didn't have on my list, I was trying to fade this week, and now I have to play him because this is our rule. My rule. I have to get our other guys in. All right, I'm going to say Carlos Ortiz.
Ooh,
I really like Carlos Ortiz, and he would be the guy I would think could win this. I love the Aaron Wise too, by the way.
Yeah, that was my coin flip, by the way.
Yeah, those are right there for me. All right, so other than those guys, okay, so now we're down in the 8K range, the top 10. Not a favorite range of ours.
Oh no, I'm in with the triangle.
Okay. Oh, okay. You always love, I don't know what Tringale has done for you, but he's
nothing.
You love this guy.
Nothing.
Okay, I'll give you the Tringale. And well, I'm just going to mention one other guy we didn't, who's like a guy if we had to bet on someone to possibly win this tournament and has been playing terribly the last few tournaments he's played and been out, it would be Kokrak. If this was played,
Yeah, I got something about that actually.
What's that?
Yeah, there's a Rick take on that. Apparently, this is based on course fit or whatever, it's the perfect Kokrak spot, apparently, for whatever that's worth.
Well, then that moves him up even more for me. But he's just looked really badly, looked really poor lately. I'm gonna take the guy that you mentioned before, but I already had him circled. I'm gonna take Max Homa.
I like that.
All right, 7Ks. Who you got for me? So many guys. There's so many guys to choose from.
I'll just chicken out, just go to the top of my list, and say Charlie Hoffman.
I like the Charlie Hoffman play actually. And by the way, that's not chickening out. It's not like, maybe it seems like, but he's actually he's not going to be owned as much this week, I don't think. Gary Woodland's another one I thought of, by the way. I didn't mention him. There's just so many guys in the 7K range. It's hard to keep track of all of them. Boy, this would be a gross one to say after what happened last week. Do I really want to say it? By the way, I should have said Bezidenhout as one of the other favorites from the other range, but whatever. I'm going to say Sebastian Munoz.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think it makes some sense. And then down in the 6K range, who's making the cuts? We've named a bunch of guys just recently.
All right, I will go with what's his name. I'll go with the last guy I said. I'll go with Russell Knox to make the cut.
All right, I like that. And I'll go with Luke List.
Sounds good.
All right, so there you have it, guys. Hopefully we can do something this week.
Yep.
Good luck to everybody out there, and we'll see you guys. Sheets will see us tomorrow, and then I'll see you guys at 6:30 Eastern.
All right, good luck.